Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday evening now. Hope yours is going well. We've got another Seahawks video to get to today, but first we just hit 2,130 subscribers to the YouTube channel. Thank you to all the subscribers, old and new, and special tip of the cap goes to all the channel members, including new elite channel member John Harper. He joins Y2KHA, Brandon Mikel, Rip, Scott Todd, VGK Tiger 75, and Hasher for MVP. Alright guys, this is going to be a little bit of a rough video to get through, but we're going to get through it nevertheless. It is Wednesday, and coming at you a few hours late is the weekly Wagner Watch. And look guys, for the sake of transparency, I want to say Bobby Wagner is probably my favorite Seahawk of all time overall. When you take a look at the balance of his career versus the career of every other player that has come through Seattle, Bobby Wagner is probably my favorite. But after this most recent game against Washington, where the defense did play well and the Seahawks did win, I just feel like we're at a crossroads with Bobby. And I don't know if this organization is going to look at it this way, but as a fan who's watching these games and looking at this team's performance and looking at the performance of the players, I know I am. And right now, Bobby Wagner is running out of gas. As near as I can tell, he is running out of gas. He started the season really strongly. He played a good game against Atlanta to open the season. He was doing a lot of good stuff in a lot of games. And then as the season went on, we started to see some of the bad Bobby come out in a couple different ways. He was missing his tackles. He wasn't making big contributions in terms of splash plays. And I was kind of a little bit on the good side and a little bit on the bad side with him. But after this most recent game against Washington, and I'll get into the details of why I'm saying all this, it's becoming more and more clear to me that the time to move on from Bobby Wagner is almost already here. We've got 2 games left this season, plus playoffs, and I'm having a hard time imagining Bobby Wagner righting the ship enough to be considered a marquee player going into 2021 for this team because, like I said, he's out of gas. He has given all he can give for this Seahawks team in 2020, and I'm afraid of what we're going to get from him in the next couple games and in the playoffs because, well, let's just get into it. So first of all, some of you people are going to look at the box score and you're going to look at Bobby's numbers and you're going to see that he had more tackles than anybody else in the NFL in Week 15. He had 13 tackles to bring his season total to 126. And that's good. 13 tackles is a good tally. He's on pace to more or less reach my 2020 projection for him, but do not drink the Kool-Aid, and I'll explain to you why a little later. He did not record any new sacks. He did not record any new missed tackles, which is nice for whatever little bit he can salvage this messy season. His missed tackle rate is at 8%, which is bad for a player like Bobby, but at least it's not going up at this point, I guess. Solo tackles, he's up to 73, which I'm fine with that. This is not where I'm concerned with Bobby going into the last few games of the year. He did not pick up any new QB pressures. He still had a very nice year in terms of pressuring the quarterback. I have to give him credit there. If there's one positive I can give Bobby this season, it would be this right here. He did get QB pressure more than he probably ever has before. No new tackles for loss in his ledger. No new turnovers forced, and that's one of the bigger problems that I was pointing out as this season went on. He did pick up a pass defense against Washington, which brought his season total to 8, which matches my projection for him in 2020, so that's good. Also good would be his run defense this year, and this is one of the areas I needed to see massive improvement out of him from in 2020, and in fairness to him, we have. 71 run tackles through 14 games puts him in line for the 80 that I wanted to see from him in 2020, and his average tackle depth on running plays is 3.4 yards. That's a healthy amount below the 2020 projection. So, in my estimation, Bobby Wagner has done a great job defending against the run this year. The problem is, what does that get you if you're not getting some other things out of him? And that's going to bring us to this next part of the video where we delve into the stuff that wasn't good, the stuff that is the problem. These are the reasons why, looking at Bobby Wagner in 2020, I'm feeling like we need to move on from this guy this offseason because he doesn't have it anymore, or at his advanced age, he is no longer able to play at a high level come the end of the season. He doesn't have 1,000 snaps in him anymore. Maybe he has 700 or 800, but he doesn't have 1,000. He's not a 1,000 snap man anymore, or an 1,100 snap man. Maybe he's a 700 snap man, but you can't pay a 700 snap man all that money. So, Bobby Wagner in coverage against Washington. Let me give you his coverage numbers against just this one team. In Washington, his coverage statistics were the following. 10 targets. He was targeted 10 times in coverage. 9 completions. Of the 10 times he was targeted, he gave up 9 completions. That's 90%. Yards. He gave up 74 receiving yards as a middle linebacker playing admittedly against a good tight end and a good receiving back in J.D. McKissic and Logan Thomas, but against Dwayne Haskins. And I understand they were just spamming the ball to Logan Thomas over and over because that's what Dwayne Haskins felt the most comfortable doing. But why are you giving up so many completions? What's up with that? Oh, and a passing touchdown. So 9 of 10 for 74 yards and a touchdown when targeting Bobby Wagner. 9 of 10, 74 yards and a touchdown in one game in coverage against Bobby Wagner. And you can see what that has done to his season totals. He's now been targeted 70 times, which is almost as many times as he was targeted in all of 2019. 47 completions allowed, which puts him basically in line to match what he did last year if he keeps this up especially. So a lot of the improvement that I was seeing in coverage earlier this year is quickly slipping away. He's now 1 completion away from matching the 2020 projection I had from him. His completion percentage flies all the way up to 67%. It's still good. You know, I can live with 67% admittedly, but it's headed in the wrong direction. Passing yards allowed, 446. We are creeping in close to the 2020 projection. He's very close to it. He may yet finish right around it or maybe even a little under it, but not if he keeps up what he did against Washington. I know that. He's given up 2 passing touchdowns now, which I'm willing to live with, but his passer rating allowed is now above my 2020 projection. It's up to 94.1. On the back of this one game, it has gone through the roof. Average depth of target, 6.4, which is now becoming a problem. He's allowed almost 200 air yards on the season. I wanted to see it at or slightly below 200. 248 yards after the catch, which that's fine, admittedly. But this is trending in the wrong direction. And the game Bobby Wagner played in coverage against Washington was about as bad as it gets for a middle linebacker. And look, he's got 2 games left to right the ship here. But based on what I saw against Washington, I have to believe the Rams are going to come into this game on Sunday thinking, okay, we got to attack Bobby in coverage because Washington did that and they had a lot of success on it. They didn't win, they didn't score a lot of points, but it was one of their best bets on offense. They just beat him up in coverage. They got a lot of completions on him. They moved the ball. They picked up first downs. And I have to believe Sean McVay's looking at that and thinking, we can do that too. It's not really looking good. And I have every reason to believe part of the problem is that Bobby's just worn down as the season has gone on, and he's just not a 1,000 snap man anymore. Like I said, 700, 800 snaps maybe, but unless I see a shift in the way he's playing in these last few games of the season, I'm going to go into this offseason thinking, I think it is time to move on. Finally, his pass rush win rate has dropped to about 13%, which is a little lower than I wanted. It's not bad. It's a big improvement over last year. But, yeah, he is blitzing quite a bit, and he needs to get home a little bit more. But, yeah, that's my take on Bobby Wagner through 14 games. it's getting worse and worse with each passing week. And other than his stellar run defense and his great QB pressures, I'm just not really seeing it right now. All right, I'm going to go and get out of here. Stream's coming in a little bit. Peace out. Go Hawks. Look, we're going to learn a lot this week when it comes to Bobby. When it comes to everything on this team, we're going to learn a lot about Bobby Wagner. If he goes out there, plays a great game, gets it done, maybe forces a turnover or two, holds up in coverage and run defense, maybe I'll reevaluate. But as of right now, as I look at it, I'm not seeing an $18 million a year player. Sometimes the truth hurts. Go Hawks.